Wow, what a game. That's all I've got to say about this one. Guys, if you haven't seen this one was a big game. Denver versus Portland, Game 3, May 4th, and I'm tired. Man, this is a late game, but we're going to recap it anyways, guys. This is a fantastic game. If you didn't watch it, you're definitely going to want to probably take some time out of your day, take some time out of your afternoon, and go watch the whole game. This one was fun. This one was the best game I've ever seen probably in my whole life. I'm not kidding. Not even exaggerating. This was probably, no, I won't say probably. This was the best game I've ever watched in my life. Game 3, guys. Let's get started. Let's just go over it real quick. I will try to do this one justice. I really will. So let's kind of give some kind of recap prior to the game. Well, actually, I'm going too fast. I guess I'm ready. I'm getting ahead of myself here. As always, guys, highlights are going to be on the screen. Go ahead and take a look at them. Again, they might be a little bit ahead of me. They might be a little bit behind me. They might be right on time. But as usual, I'll try to recap as much as I can, give you kind of a summary of what happened. Before we get started, though, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Hit that bell notification icon as well, too, so that as soon as I put out a new video, you're the first one to see it. And then comment as well, too. What are your thoughts about Game 4 when that comes out? Whenever you get to the end of the video, leave a comment. Tell me what you think. Or tell me what you thought about this game as well. This one was fantastic. But going over Game 2 real quick, just a quick summary before we go over Game 3. Denver shot terribly. Honestly, that's kind of the easy way to say it. They had very good looks. They weren't falling, unfortunately. And then also the second thing was injuries were a big concern. Murray had injuries. Torrey Craig had a nasal contusion. Mo Harkless and Cantor as well too were banged up. Mo Harkless had a leg injury. Cantor had a right shoulder injury as well too. He also got banged up in the mouth or the throat, whatever it was. Had some blood during that game, but ended up being okay, I guess, because he finished out the rest of the game. First half, this was gritty, man. This was real gritty. Lots of diving for loose balls. There was low turnovers for both teams, so it wasn't sloppy. It was just real gritty, fighting after, like I said, loose balls, fighting for rebounds, fighting for position to get rebounds, things like that. It was fantastic. Portland did shoot 9 more free throws, but was only up by 1 point by halftime. So, you kind of expect that if they shot 9 more free throws, they'd be up. They'd kind of do everything. They would likely be up. But the good thing is that, in this case, Denver was able to kind of win certain statistical categories like rebounding and assist and second chance points and things like that as well, too, that kind of mitigated that a little bit. By halftime, though, it was 48-47 Portland. A few highlights. I know I'm running through the first half, but there's a lot of stuff to recap here. Denver's players to kind of keep an eye out on the first quarter was Murray had 16 points. Paul Millsap had 9.7 rebounds. Jokic had 6 points, 5 assists, 7 rebounds. But the big problem is he had 4 turnovers. All of Denver turnovers were from Jokic in the first half. Nobody else turned over the ball, which might be a good sign, honestly. I mean, you don't have Will Barton turning over the ball or, Torrey Craig or somebody else like that or Paul Millsap or whatever. At least it's like your best player that's primarily – he's one of the probably 2 most primary ball handlers on your team. So, I mean, it's to be expected. Usually your point guard usually leads the team in turnovers. But, I mean, he had 5 assists, 7 rebounds, 6 points as well, so you can't really complain. So, not a big thing. I thought that was interesting. Everybody else besides Jokic was doing pretty good as far as keeping the ball kind of in play and things like that. For the Trailblazers, Evan Turner was the only person who didn't score. I think he played 8 minutes of the first half, and he was the only person that didn't score. So, I mean, again, Trailblazers do it a little bit different. They kind of, and then especially in the first half, they were kind of sharing the ball around a little bit and make sure everybody got involved. Damian Lillard ended with 10 points, CJ with 9, Rodney Hood with 7, Harkless and Cantor both had 6 as well, too. So, that was kind of the first half, guys. Real gritty, and Portland spread out the ball. Denver didn't turn over the ball really, and specifically Murray had a really good first half. Jumping into the second half here, guys. Murray starts off the second half with a big time 3, kind of gets him rolling with what he left off in the first half. Right after that, CJ McCollum gets a layup, and then Jokic hits a 3. So, and then right after that, Torrey Craig gets an alley-oop pass over Damian Lillard. The assist came from Jokic. So, real quick, right out of the gate, Portland has their call timeout after 2 big threes and then that little alley-oop to Torrey Craig that Jokic threw right over Damian Lillard. Got their offense running again for the second half. Excuse me. And I'm kind of highlighting some specific like play sequences that I had noticed that really were momentum changers as well. And Portland had one as well too. So Kanter hit a big time three at 6:30 left. This got the crowd pumped up. And then right after that, Kanter played some really good defense. He did get scored on in the post, but he really showed some hustle there. This is in the third quarter. And then he came back down and got an and one and made the free throw as well too. So he had 6 points within like 30 seconds or whatever. And that kind of helped answer back some of the early push that Denver was making on them. Rodney Hood did hit a huge three with 3:40 left in the quarter. Kanter hits a mid-range shot. Jokic hits a three. Damian Lillard hits a big-time three falling down. And then at that point, that was kind of some of the sequences at 3:40, at 3 minutes and 40 seconds left in the third quarter that I saw. So real fun, back and forth kind of the game. And this is a lot of the sequences that I wrote down of scoring were these back and forth like play sequences between the two teams. Now at the end of the third quarter, Lillard had made 7 points straight. Rodney Hood gets fouled on a 3-point shot. He doesn't make the 3-pointer, but he does make 2 of the 3 free throws. And then Jokic had a real clean floater at that point with the shot clock running down. And it was kind of interesting. So the way that Jokic had scored, he had a really good second half. The first half he had 6 points, like I said. Second half he had 24. So he really turned it on. He was a big reason why the Denver was able to keep their lead and kind of get on an early lead. 6 minutes left though in the fourth. Kanter did dive for the ball, and this is why I highlighted this one is because it looked like he got banged up. He might have hit his leg or his elbow or whatever it was because he just took a while to get down or get back up. After falling down, and it just took him a while to get up, and he was kind of aching a little bit. But the cool thing about it was that right after that, they were yelling out "Kanter, Kanter." The crowd was chanting that. Thought that was a really cool moment, honestly, for Kanter because he's been kind of, I don't know, he gets a bad rap because of his defense and stuff. But honestly, like if you watch these games, he's not that bad at defense. Maybe he used to be, but like now he's not. Like he's not. At least he's trying. He's hustling. He's got good footwork. That's one of the biggest things that can translate from being a good offensive player and not being a good defensive player is if you have the footwork on offense, typically that can translate over to defense, and that's what's happening right now. He's not doing anything wrong. Like he's not doing anything bad on defense. Every once in a while he gets scored on. Like I mentioned that sequence earlier about like probably a minute ago about where he got scored on, but he came back and hit that and one, the and one shot at that point. But for the most part, he's playing defense. Like I don't get the bad rap that he always gets. Now we're gonna kind of jump through to the end of the fourth quarter. There's about 3 minutes left, and Jamal Murray had hit a long 2 over Enes Kanter. Lillard and Aminu both missed some shots. I think it was a 3-pointer if I remember correctly. And then Murray came down and got a big time 3 over Kanter. Harkless answers with his own 3. And then right after that 3 goes in, Will Barton loses the ball again. So he airballs 1 possession, and then he turns over the ball a second time. Right after that, Torrey Craig comes in and subs in for him for a minute or something, and then Will Barton comes back in. I thought it was kind of interesting because Will Barton was killing it this game, and then he had 2 crazy plays at the end where he kind of screwed up, and then he gets subbed out. But once he comes back in, he actually hits the game tying layup at that point. And the final shot in the second half was really just Damian Lillard hitting a floater, and then Will Barton hit that layup because Denver tried to get a shot off right before the end of the second half. They couldn't get it off, so it went over to overtime 1. Overtime 1 was the same exact thing as the rest of the overtimes, where it was just back and forth. Lillard hit some deep threes. CJ McCollum hit some really deep threes. This game went to 4 total overtimes. It was absolutely nuts, totally nuts. The last play. Well, I guess what I'll do is I'll highlight the fourth quarter, the fourth overtime, and that was really Rodney Hood. He came in, got some big time minutes, got some big time buckets too. Rodney Hood, I wanted to highlight him specifically because he has had a fantastic playoff run, especially in the second round as well too. And it's kind of funny. I was thinking about this. I was like, well, Rodney Hood came from the Cavs last year. He couldn't do this. There's even a part of the game in one of the games in the playoff games where Ty Lue tried to sub him in and he didn't even want to come in. So like he came from a really bad situation where he was at, and then now he's putting up 19 points and 6 of 8 shooting, 2 of 3 3-pointers, and one of those was like one of the game-winning shots at the end. Not the game-winning shot, but it gave him the lead at the end. He went 5 of 7 from free throw line as well, and only 23 minutes as well too. So he played really, really good. But the reason why I was thinking about that is because George Hill, if you guys saw my recap video with the Bucks and the Celtics, George Hill did the same thing. George Hill like had an amazing game as well too, and he's been pretty good on this entire series as well too. But to highlight Portland a little bit more, I wanted to talk about C.J. McCollum and Damian Lillard. Those are the two big guys there, obviously. C.J. McCollum had 41. Damian Lillard had 28. Damian Lillard didn't really have a fantastic game shooting the ball or like point totals and stuff like that. It was really C.J. McCollum's game, honestly. But he almost had 30. He had 28, so he didn't have a bad game either. Enes Kanter and Mo Harkless as well had fantastic games next to Rodney Hood, like I've already mentioned. They both had double-doubles. Harkless had 10 rebounds. Enes Kanter had 15 rebounds. Again, just super clutch. Enes Kanter shot 50% from the floor. Mo Harkless went 6 of 14. 2 turnovers, though. That's not very good, but it was decent. I mean, he didn't have 3, so that's a good thing. And he had 2 big blocks as well, too. That's why I wanted to kind of highlight Harkless a little bit. Now, swinging over to Denver, though, Jamal Murray. This is Jamal Murray and Jokic. I've already talked about this in previous videos. Is the way that the Portland scores on you is they're two guards, Damian Lillard and C.J. McCollum. What Denver does is Jamal Murray and Jokic. And Jamal Murray and Jokic was exactly what was popping tonight. Jamal Murray had 34 points in 55 minutes. And that's not even – he didn't even lead the team in points play, the minutes played either as well. But 34 points, 9 rebounds, 5 assists, 1 steal. But he shot pretty efficiently. It was like almost 50%, so it wasn't terrible. Jokic, though, he played over an hour. I think when it was all said and done, he played like 66 minutes or something, or 65 minutes or whatever it was. He had 33 points, 14 assists, 18 rebounds, 8 turnovers, though. That was the big downfall from him. But honestly, he had a lot of those at the very first quarter. And then he kind of went on this time where he just didn't have a lot of turnovers at all. And then he got a lot in like the last couple minutes, because what happened was Jokic by far played more minutes than anybody else. Well, I wouldn't say by far, but by several minutes that he played more minutes than anybody on the court. And honestly, what happened was a couple times when Portland was trying to score, they'd run the pick and roll. Jokic was too tired. He could not step up, put a hand in C.J. McCollum's face or Damian Lillard's face or whatever, and they end up getting easy baskets over him. And I think that was just a fatigue issue. You know, he's not in the best shape of his life. He's kind of like pudgy a little bit, which is okay. I mean, it's cool. He's a fantastic player, so that is not stopping him whatsoever. And but I think maybe his conditioning just got to him. But honestly, I mean, anybody who plays like over an hour basketball, like in playoff basketball too. It's not regular season basketball. It's playoff basketball. And the workload that he has, again, he had 14 assists, 18 rebounds, 33 points, 2 blocks, 1 steal. Like, anybody is going to be dog tired after that. And he only had 5 free throws as well. He made 3 of 5, excuse me. So it's not like he shot a lot from the free throw line either. He made 13 field goals tonight. So it's like he was playing hard, and he played really well, honestly. But he was dog tired, and honestly, Portland just kind of got around him a couple times and got some easy baskets just because he couldn't kind of step up. He was too tired, essentially, at that point. Jamal Murray, I talked about him. Nikola Jokic, I talked about him. Paul Millsap had a good game as well, too. What the problem was in Game 2 was it kind of went away with what was working in Game 1, where Paul Millsap usually has advantages over Mo Harkless and Enes Kanter and things like that. Well, usually Enes Kanter is playing on Jokic, but usually whoever he's playing with, whether it's Amin who is guarding him or Harkless, he typically is going to have the advantage over him, and they kind of went back to that a little bit, I thought. Paul Millsap did have some really clutch plays as well, too. Gary Harris did foul out early, but Will Barton and Malik Beasley also had fantastic games as well, too, right off the bench. Will Barton finished with 22. Now, a lot of Will Barton's points came in the second half in all of the overtimes. Like I said, this was 4 overtimes total. So it's crazy. It was nuts. Malik Beasley also came in and had some really good plays as well too. He had 11 points, 5 rebounds, but a lot of his stuff, again, he moves really well without the ball, and he's really good defensively in my opinion. So like his on-ball defense really tells a story about how his game is and how he can be effective on your team. But 11 points and some really good defense is what you get with Malik Beasley. But guys, that was pretty much it, guys. That was my recap for tonight. The final score was Portland 140, Denver 137. So Portland takes the win by 3. Next game, I believe, is Sunday, if I remember correctly. So I think that's the late game. I'm probably not going to review that one because Game of Thrones comes on Sunday night. So I probably won't review that one, but we'll see what happens. So as always, guys, go ahead and leave a comment, like, and subscribe. Let me know what you thought about Game 3 if you watched it or if you didn't watch it. What did you think about that? And they also said one other fun fact is that they said that game, the last game that has went into 4 overtimes was in 1950s. It was the Celtics, and I don't remember who the other team was. Maybe it was the Knicks or something. I don't know. But I know the Celtics was one of the teams because they mentioned it. Maybe it was the Celtics and Bucks actually. I think that's actually what it was. But really fun game though, guys. I kind of had a feeling once it went to overtime. These guys have to go to 7-game series. Like it just has to. Like these guys are so close to each other. I wouldn't be surprised if we see more games that go into overtime with them, just because they're so tightly contested. They are so even. They are as closely matched up as you probably can get. They have slightly different strategies because, like I said, Portland attacks you with their 2 guards, and Denver kind of attacks you with like the 1-5 punch, I guess, with like Jamal Murray being a 1 and then Jokic being a 5. But that was pretty much it, guys. Like I said, as always, go ahead and like, comment, and subscribe, and we will see you in the next one. Take care.
The Blazers win it in 4 overtimes. They take a 2-1